Welcome to Kumba Software DPAA videos. This video is about what's new in the 2026-07-31 new feature release of the DataPower Administrator's Assistant. So be sure to set your video playback to high definition, and of some visual details of DPAA may have changed since this video was created. The functionality will be the same. The new feature we've added to DPAA in this release is the ability for DPAA to correct and allow you to manage trash when working with objects and files using the DataPower Administrator's Assistant. To give you a quick example, if we were to select a couple of items to delete, we would go about deleting these items, and this is a matter of a different video. But to demonstrate the trash ability, we're just going to skip some of these screens here. And we get to this screen to delete these log labels. So we're deleting the log labels. They're showing deleted here. I can save my domain. And now we no longer have these log labels in this domain of these appliances. There's an icon, a new icon you'll find on the screen with a trash can, and you can also find it via File, Manage Trash. And what happens is, and I know this seems strange, but many items may show up in your trash because over time it will collect based upon what you're deleting. But these items, I can select these items like this, and you can see here are the two log labels that were deleted. And notice that what we want to do is we want to restore them. So the way to restore them is I can select the checkbox next to the item. And when synchronized selection is on, it will also select the other one. As you can see here, I don't need to select them on the screen to restore them necessarily, but just to highlight what has been selected because synchronized selection is on, the assumption that DPAA makes is like all other instances of working with DPAA, that we want to keep everything synchronized. So if we want to restore it in this appliance, we probably want to restore it there. And now we're not stuck with the selection. I can turn this off and say, no, I don't want to restore it there, but I do want to restore here. And notice that the checkbox remains on. Turning this back on now does not resynchronize. I would have to either turn it off or then turn it back on, in which case now it's selected again without me explicitly taking that action here. I'm going to restore marked, and what's going to happen is it's verifying, do you want to restore all the marked items? I may have many, and I'm going to select yes. And then those items are now restored and removed from the trash. As you're deleting different objects and files, you may find many different things that are located here. I'm going to restore a couple of files just to prove this works. And again, with synchronized changes turned on, these two files down here were also selected. I'm going to restore those items as marked. And we could have done everything at once. We're not limited to just one item at a time, as you can see. And again, those files have now been removed from trash. I can arbitrarily make selections of objects, and I can delete marked items from the trash. So this just removes them from the trash. They're already been removed from the appliances. So in this case, I'm just removing them from the trash so that they're permanently deleted. And then, as you might imagine in other systems, if I'm playing around, I don't even need to mark items. I can empty trash. And that will just take everything remaining out of the trash. So you can see that my domain says it needs to be saved because I restored these log labels. And if I search now, you can see they're back, but they're marked as new in their config state because they weren't on the appliances before I restored them. Of course, we can save the configuration to fix that situation so that everything's saved. And when I search now, you can see that they're now persistent. And if I go to Files and I select the XSL directory, and I search here, you can see that the files have been restored. Now, I didn't prove before that these files weren't previously there, but you can see the date and time. So that what happens is that, of course, that doesn't prove anything because you don't know my date and time. But at the end of the day, you can see the date and time, which is the same date and time of this release. I can open these files, and you can see that the file content has remained intact when restored from the trash. So the restore from trash is a full restore. It restores everything as it was when it was on the appliance on the day that it was removed. So that's the new feature. It's actually pretty powerful. There are many different ways to back up things and restore things using DPAA. This is just yet another one. DPAA automatically puts any object or file you delete into the trash. One note about this, however, it is your trash. It does not belong to everyone who's using DPAA necessarily in your company. We believe we will migrate this to enable the ability to have some kind of a shared trash in the future. But right now, it's your trash. It's a local trash bin that you have, just like you have a local trash bin on your computer. As you delete files and whatnot from your computer, your trash isn't shared with everybody else out there that may be using computers within your same company. This is also true of DPAA. Your trash is your trash. And you may be called upon to restore something you might have inadvertently deleted, and other people won't necessarily have the ability to restore that unless they themselves have made some other kind of backup of those objects. So it's a note that's important for you to know as you move forward with DPAA and using this new feature. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.